Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Train Man, and welcome back to whatever. You know, I need to be a little bit more... I know, actually, I'm being very standard lately with my introductions. But I feel like that's come to a problem, because in a bit of DayZ footage, which will probably be released sometime in the future, because as you may have noticed, DayZ is on a bit of a hiatus. And for how long, I don't know. As I was saying, DayZ has been on a bit of a hiatus, blah blah blah. Bit of footage. I cut off John when we were trying to start the video, because I just instinctively went, hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Train Man, and welcome back to blah blah blah. I need to pay a bit more attention, is what I'm saying. Alright, so, aside from attention, I need to remember... See, those are the two things that I have a problem with. I need to remember exactly what we were talking about, and if I recall, we were in the middle of a three-part saga. This would be the third part of me talking about the Barrington Rail Revival Project. Now, but I'm not going to continue from where we left off for two reasons. A, I don't remember where we left off, and B, I've gotten significant amounts of data since we last discussed the topic. Now, again, the Barrington Rail Revival Project is going to be the final of the 4 Zombie Train books, or things in the main storyline, I suppose. By the way, for reference, I have reached Essex in my writing, and it could be done in at least a week, or at most a week or two. Well, no. I'm not going to say at most, because you never know. There's a lot of content between Essex and Whitefish, whether or not there's a lot of track. There wasn't hardly any content between... There actually wasn't any content between Glacier Park and Essex. We go straight from Glacier Park to Essex. Basically without, not without stopping, necessarily, but without any major interruptions. But as I was saying, I don't know what I was saying. Alright, significant data. In fact, I've actually started to make a, whatchamacallit? I've started to make a sheet of all the things that I need to remember for when this comes out. Now, one of the most important things that I learned, because I was talking to my cousin John about the Block Island Ferry. Talking to him about the Constitution and the plan to steal the Constitution. I was basically telling him the story. I believe I talked to you guys about the Constitution. I ought to have. It's a very important part of what happens. But I was talking to him about that, and we got to the part where I was telling him how enormous the weight difference is, and we were coming up with... I mean, he's more of a ship guy than I am, so he understood a little bit more about why it would be that way. And we were discussing possible reasons regarding the construction, regarding something else, when I came across the other major discrepancy. He told me that the Block Island Ferry, drafts about 10 feet. That's a problem, because the Constitution drafts about 20. Now, I'm sure you're saying, oh, how is that a problem? It's just a difference. Well, the docks on Block Island are not designed for something that drafts 20 feet. And in fact, most areas in Rhode Island aren't designed for that. Only the Port of Providence and Quonset and a couple of other very specific, heavily trafficked locations by large ships. And with such a small state, there aren't too many of those. In both senses, there aren't too many locations like that, nor are there too many particularly large ships. On the main islands, that'd be the large islands. That'd be Jamestown and Newport. Jamestown doesn't have much. Newport has a decent amount because they host tall ships there. But so I had to mend the plot hole by going out and finding a dredge. Now, I didn't find one in real life. because, frankly, that wasn't something that I was worried too much about. I could just say there was one in the area, but, well, I didn't set out to find one, I should say. I found one, by accident. At least on Google Maps I did. I doubt it's still there by the time of this recording, or even by the time of me looking at the damn thing. But I found one, so I know where they would be. I don't know why, but I decided to name it K.I.N.G, just, not king as in the word king, but it's an acronym, K.I.N.G, for what that stands, I don't know. I haven't come up with it yet. But it's a dredger, and it was working on some stuff in Barrington, and that's the reason they go to Barrington in the first place. They received this transmission from there, blah blah blah. I think. I may have just wrote it in. No. I don't believe the dredge was in Barrington, but then it motored over to these fuel tanks to get fuel, the same fuel tanks that the Block Island Ferry has been using in this story. And they run into each other, and I wrote that it was less of a deal as it was just an acquisition. Basically, Block Island, the New Republic, they were in the beginning they were called the New Republic of Block Island, but they dropped the new pretty quickly. I don't know why, just to make things simpler, I suppose. But the New Republic of Block Island just took over the ferry. Not without, they didn't, it wasn't a hostile takeover, but it was more like the people of Barrington definitely needed the Republic of Block Island's help more than the Republic of Block Island needed the dredge. But the dredge came in very handy, and it helped them execute their plans. I'm going to leave this kind of weird uplift here, because I think it looks interesting. That's not good. I think I am going to put a valley here, by the way. Just a little creek valley. Instead of, for this. It's going to be a very, very steep drop to some stagnant water. So we'll figure out how that turns out in a minute. Again, so the dredge comes in handy for Block Island because Block Island is running out of fuel for the ferries, and we don't exactly go out and get large quantities of fuel. We've been bringing them more important stuff like food and fresh water. And the other various supplies you need to keep a community running, including building supplies, and metals and coal. We deal in coal. Of all the fuels out there, we deal more in coal than anything else, and I'm sure you could figure out why. We spend a lot of our time around it. So if somebody needs fuel, we generally have a lot of coal with us to barter with, and we usually know where we can get more. As I said, for a while we started up and ran a coal mine in Pennsylvania, or restarted up. But that went south after a little while. It did put out a decent amount of coal, a respectable amount of coal in the meantime, however. And no, it wasn't Black Lung that got people. And it was only partially the zombies' fault. One of the major downfalls of that mine is one of the major downfalls with any large underground construction, and it's groundwater. We had a surge of groundwater from a heavy rain. I'm gonna put a clean slate here because this is no good. By clean slate, I just mean something that I can see through. There's surging groundwater. The pumps couldn't handle it all, and most of the miners drowned because they couldn't get out of the lower levels in time. And when I say fail, I don't mean like, you know, the pumps are running but there's too much water. It was like the water came in and overwhelmed the pumps, and they just broke. They just shut down and died. And then, without the pumps there, the water filled in very, very quickly because it was raining quite heavily. And the groundwater that was already there was under a decent amount of pressure. Because we were pretty far down. They were pretty far down. I was not with them. There's something I want to do. I like how the sky looks. But, that's water. Ambient color? What is the ambient color? How do I change the ambient color? Do I change the ambient color? I'm gonna go back to choppy, because I like the choppy water look. Alright. Even though it doesn't make sense in some of these areas. I'd like to turn on the day-night cycle. That's a lot of snow. Now let's keep going in this, like this. Good. Turn off the snow. Thank you. Screwing around with the weather. Alright, what was I talking about last? Oh man, didn't mean to do that. Let's save. I'm gonna make this a double episode so that I can actually be ahead of the game for once. Overwrite route. We're about what? 10-15 minutes in somewhere in between there. I know I didn't get started as quickly as I would have liked, so I am a little bit behind. But I'm gonna record for about, well, not 120 minutes. I'm gonna record for about, no. Well, no, an hour and 20 minutes, not 120 minutes. I was thinking, yeah, no, yes. Yeah, we can have 2 40-minute episodes built in here. I'm no longer sure how I want to do this, or if I want to do this. You sure? Are you okay? Let's think. We have this water over here. It'd be fine if I just continued up this way. Oh. I can make it go this way. Hold on. Plateau. A little bit wider. And then curve this way and run through here. Boop! That could work. Let's kill the texture, because it doesn't need to be here now. No scale. But I was telling a story, though, wasn't I? Talking about Block Island Ferry. Well, I was telling you some factual information first. I was letting you know that the water, water on Block Island is too deep for the USS Constitution. So they got the King dredger, K.I.N.G, dredger, and used that. What is going to be a little bit higher than that? Let's figure out how deep the lake bed is going to be. A little bit faster, if you please. That looks a little bit better. Alright, so as I was saying, I keep coming around to the same thing because I'll say something and then I get distracted by working on something. I don't think it's that bad that I keep getting distracted by working on something. It's worse than getting distracted by fiddling off and doing something random, like adjusting the sky, which I still haven't quite figured out how to do, and I don't know how to do it. Or I don't know what the ambient colors and stuff are. But nonetheless, I feel like I should plateau this area just to make it easier to work with. Let's see how bad this turns out. Bam! Not as bad as it could be. Alright. Okay, I take that back. That's pretty bad. What if I go across the top? This is going to be a mid-range for the mountain here. The mountain. The Night of the Flowers. No, I shouldn't have done this. Alright. No, Bene. Bad. No, doggy, go out. Click. Alright. That looks pretty decent, even though it doesn't. So bring this up. So, bring this only over to about that height. And then we're going to do that. Steep sides like this, I think... I'm not a geologist, but I feel like very steep sides on a river bed would indicate a new river. Oh, well, no, it depends what the river's made of. Or it depends what the riverbed is made of. Yeah, no, very steep sides on a riverbed, god dang it, would indicate a newer river that came through and eroded very quickly. The steeper the sides, the quicker the erosion. Right? That makes sense. If anyone is a geologist in the comments section, and you could shed some light on, that'd be really appreciated. I think I should minor in geology. Or, well, would this be geology, or would it be geography? Well, no. I'm not sure if geography encompasses the field of that kind of stuff, or if it's just things that are here right now. Like the geography of North Dakota. Well, that would be very boring, and that is ugly. No offense, North Dakota, but you didn't have any nice geography. But on the subject of geography, not only are the Block Island docks not deep enough for the Constitution, the other place in Barrington. Well, I didn't have a place in Barrington to dock, so I was going over depth charts. And there's another ferry that leaves from... And, by the way, I keep saying Barrington, I mean Bristol. But Barrington Rail Revival Project sounds better than Bristol Rail Revival Project. And they're neighboring towns anyways. But, in Bristol there is a ferry to Prudence Island, which is in Narragansett Bay, so it doesn't go far. It doesn't go far at all. Which means that the docks there are in even shallower water than the Block Island Ferry docks. It's about 7 feet versus the 15 feet out on the island. So the Block Island Ferry the dredge has to do those too, after Block Island selected that as their port of call for the mainland, after they were kicked out by Quonset. Also, I don't believe I've told you guys this. I'm not sure if I told you guys this. I don't think I did. But we do have an antagonist. We officially have a named antagonist. Now, of course, I didn't go towards this person, but, if you're listening, Donatio, and that's not me making fun of, that's the person's name. I want to use you as an antagonist because it's the people of the Block Island Ferry, and I know how much you don't like them. For those of you that don't know, Charles Donatio ran a rival to the Block Island Ferry, and the ferry actually felt pretty threatened by this, and so threatened, in fact, that they bought his ferry. Now, he went to run a second ferry after his ferry was purchased by the Block Island Ferry. Saying ferry a lot. He went to run a second ferry, and the Block Island Ferry Corporation people didn't like this. So, instead, they told the town of Block Island that if it allowed him to run another ferry, they would jack up the prices on the things they were bringing to the island. Basically making a tariff and enforcing their monopoly over Block Island. But when I was talking to John, because he works for the Block Island Ferry, I was talking about how I need someone to go against Block Island, who takes control of Quonset Point. And he's like, use Donatio. And I was like, who the hell is Donatio? And so he explained to me what I just explained to you, and I found it to be perfect. Now, of course, the dude isn't nuts. He isn't crazy, he isn't stupid. In fact, he's pretty smart. So, I put that he takes control not by hostile means. I didn't, in fact, put by what means, but for whatever reason in his office, he spends a lot of time in his office at Quonset Point, or what's made into his office. And for whatever reason, the source of it is unknown. But the unknown because I haven't come up with a decent source yet. I'm not sure where there'd be mercury in the place. But he slowly goes mad thanks to mercury poisoning. Again, from what source is unknown. Maybe someone smashed a load of thermometers in that room. I don't know. Either way, he starts to go nuts, and in that craziness, he lashes out at the people of Block Island, among other people. To the point where when they get the Constitution, which is, of course, basically the middle of the story, there's going to be a big thing in Boston with this stealing the Constitution. It involves people from the zombie train, it involves people from the Block Island Ferry, and it involves people from Worcester, if you recall, the Worcester compound from the original zombie train story. They're still there. But when they get the Constitution, he gets wind of this, and sometime later, because he's going crazy, he sees it as... I mean, it takes a while for him to actually figure out what he wants to do, but he eventually sees it as basically a declaration of war that they now have a 44-gun frigate going back and forth in front of Quonset Point day to day, picking up supplies and trading with the various communities still alive in Rhode Island. Of course, yeah, this is an act of war. He declares war on the island. He declares war on Block Island, and begins about a year-long struggle in air quotes called the Islander War, just dubbed the Islander War.